Hey soccer families, it's Tomek from Soccer Bedtime Stories. I've got some big news to share. Our first ever chapter book is here. Soccer Mystery Chronicles: The Haunting of St. Mary's Stadium. It's available now on Amazon worldwide. It's a spooky, heart-pounding adventure about two sisters who moved to England and uncovered ghostly secrets haunting their hometown soccer club. Perfect for young readers who love soccer, mystery, and magic under the floodlights. It's available now on Amazon. But here's the best part. If you join the Bedtime Ballers today, link in the show notes, you'll get a free signed copy delivered straight to your home, and you'll get so much more. You will help to keep this podcast ad-free and full of imagination for kids everywhere. Don't miss this. Join now. The soccer mystery awaits. I hope you enjoy today's story. Sleep well and dream big, soccer friends. Some grounds, some stadiums remember. Seats creak, nets whisper, and the wind carries stories that don't sit still. This one is about sea salt, an old friend with sea salt in his coat, and a boot that grants what the heart dares to ask at a price. The story is told with a grateful nod to W.W. Jacobs, the monkey's paw, whose cold knock at the door still echoes down the years in classrooms and homes all around. Welcome, soccer friends, to the 3rd annual Soccer Bedtime Stories Halloween. If midnight soccer like this keeps you company, please consider becoming a monthly supporter to join us on the journey. It helps keep our mics on, the pod edited, and the stories coming all season long. The Striker's Boot, a Soccer Bedtime Stories Halloween special. Without, the night was salt cold and wet within the small office at St. Mary's. The blinds were drawn and the gas fire tickled companionably. Father and son were at a tactics board. The former, who possessed notions about pressing that involved brave and unnecessary gambles, nudging the magnets into such perilous arrangements that it even provoked a sound from the white-haired old lady knitting placidly by the radiator. "Hark at the wind," said Coach White, who, having seen a fatal gap in his shape after he pushed the striker too high, was amiably desirous of preventing his son from seeing it. "I'm listening, Father," said Harry, grimly surveying the magnets as he stretched out his hand. "There, trap sprung." "I should hardly think he'd come tonight," said his father, with his thumb paused over a red disc. "He's here," said Harry, as the outer gate banged and hurried footsteps came along the corridor. The old man rose with hospitable haste, and opening the door was heard commiserating with the arrival. The arrival also commiserated with himself, so that Mrs. Wright said, "Oh, honestly," and coughed gently as her husband entered, followed by a tall, travel-worn man in a flat cap, gray at the temples, sea in his eyes. "Mateo Alvarez," said Coach White, introducing him. "Old Mateo." The visitors shook hands, and taking the proffered seat by the fire, watched contentedly while his host set out mugs and a squat brown teapot. A bottle with a paper label stood shyly behind the milk, as if wishing not to be seen. At the second mug, his eyes grew brighter, and he began to talk. The little family circle regarded with eager interest this wanderer from distant pitches, as he squared his shoulders in the chair and spoke of floodlit finals, dusty savannas, of broken crossbars and broken hearts. 20 years of it, said Coach White, nodding at his wife and son. When he went, he was a slip of a winger. Now look at him. He doesn't look to have taken much harm, said Mrs. White politely. I'd like to go abroad myself, said the old man, just to look around a bit, hear a proper crowd again. Better where you are, said Mateo, shaking his head. Put down the empty mug and sighing softly shook it again, as if listening for the sea inside. I should like to see those old stadiums and saint shrines, said the old man, where the fields are green and the crowds are loud. What was that you started telling me once about a boot or something, Mateo? Nothing, said the visitor hastily. Leastways, nothing worth hearing. Boot? Said Mrs. White cautiously. Well, it's a bit of what you might call magic, perhaps, said Mateo offhand. His three listeners leaned forward. The visitor absently lifted his empty mug, found it light, and set it down again. His host filled it for him. To look at, said Mateo, fumbling in his canvas bag. It's just an old thing, cracked and tired. He brought out a football boot. Mrs. Wright drew back with a grimace at the sex-scorched leather. Harry, taking it, examined it curiously. And what's special about it? Inquired Coach White as he took it from his son. Having turned it over, placed it upon the table. It was named by a sainted scoundrel, said Mateo. Julian Santoro. Left foot like a rifle. Mind as sharp as a knife. He said fate rules a match, and those who meddle do so to their sorrow. He came by a bargain and made it worse. A charm so that an owner could have 3 wishes from it. 3. A goal when a goal is needed. A turn of fortune when the pitch won't give an inch. His manner grew so grave that their light laughter jarred somewhat. Well, why don't you have 3 then? Said Harry cleverly. Mateo regarded him as the middle age regards presumptuous youth. I have, he said quietly, and his white weathered face whitened. And did you really have the 3 granted? Asked Mrs. White. I did, said Mateo, and his muck tapped against his teeth. And anybody else? Persisted the old lady. The first man had his free, he replied. I don't know the first 2, but the third was for an egg. That's how it came to me. His tones were so grave that a hush fell upon the group. If you've had your 3, it's no good to you now, said Coach White at last. What do you keep it for? The visitor shook his head. Fancy, I suppose. I thought of selling it, but I don't think I will. It's made enough mischief. Besides, people won't buy. They think it's a fairy story. And those who do believe want to try first and pay after. If you could have another 3, said the old man, eyeing him keenly, would you? I don't know, said the other. I don't know. He took the boot, let it dangle by a broken lace between forefinger and thumb, then suddenly tossed it onto the fire. Coach White, with a slight cry, stopped and snatched it out. Better let it burn, said Mateo solemnly. If you don't want it, said the coach, give it here. I won't, said his friend doggedly. I threw it on the fire. If you keep it, don't blame me. Pitch it back like a sensible man. The coach shook his head and examined his new possession closely. How do you do it? He inquired. Hold the lace tight in your hand, said Mateo, and wish out loud. But I warn you. Sounds like the Arabian Nights, said Mrs. White, rising to lay out plates. Wish me 4 hands and I'll have supper on time. Her husband drew the talisman nearer, and all 3 burst out laughing as Mateo, with a look of alarm, caught him by the wrist. If you must wish, he said gruffly, wish for something sensible. In the business of supper, the talisman was partly forgotten, and afterward they sat enthralled through the second course of Mateo's adventures. When the last door closed behind their guest, just in time for him to catch the late bus, Harry said, if the tale about the boot is no truer than the one about the goalkeeper and the bull, we shan't make much of it. Did you give him anything for it? Inquired Mrs. White, regarding her husband closely. A trifle, said he, coloring slightly. He didn't want it, but I made him take it. And he pressed me again to throw it away. Ooh, likely, said Harry, with pretending horror. We're going to be rich and famous and promoted. Wish to be champions, Dad? Then you can't be sacked. He darted round the table, pursued by the malign Mrs. White, armed with a tea towel. Coach White took the boot from the table and eyed it dubiously. I don't know what to wish for, he said slowly. Seems to me I've got all I want. If you only cleared the bottom of the table, you'd be happy, wouldn't you? Said Harry, a hand on his shoulder. Well, wish for 1 win then. That'll do for a start. His father smiled shamefacedly at his own credulity, looped the old lace once around his right hand. I wish, he said distinctly, for 1 win. The fire snapped. The boot twitched in his grasp like a living thing, and he flung it down with a start. It moved, he cried with a glance of disgust at the object as it lay on the hearth. I don't see the 3 points, said Harry, picking it up, set it by skirting, and I bet I never shall. It must have been your fancy, said his wife, though she looked at the leather as if it had spoken out of turn. He shook his head. Never mind. No harm done. But it did give me a shock. They sat again by the fire, listening to the wind, shouldering the clubhouse. A silence unusual and heavy settled on them, lasting until the old couple rose to go to bed. Harry sat alone a while, gazing at the coals and seeing faces in them, one young and fierce, just set against fate. He shivered, set the boot farther from the glow, and went up to his room. In the flat gray of morning, the office seemed wholesome, and the dried, cracked leather on the shelf looked exactly what it was. They laughed at themselves, though not very hard. At least old soldiers make good stories, said Mrs. White briskly. How could wishes be granted in these days? Might drop out of the sky, said Harry, tying his boots. Mateo said the things happened so naturally, murmured the coach, that you could call it coincidence, if you liked. Don't spend your luck without me, Harry said, standing, a grin tucked on the corner of his mouth. I'd hate for you to turn into a miser. He waved and was gone down the path, collar up against the rain. It was the kind of match that felt borrowed. The wind, for once, blew across the pitch instead of through it. St. Mary's scrapped and slipped in thought. On 79 minutes, Harry bent a pass around a defender like a note around a corner. The forward towed it home. The crowd erupted. Coach White, though, did not cheer. He was already running. Harry was down, twisted awkwardly by the touchline, hands tight to his shin. He tried to rise. He always tried, but when he put weight on it, his face went pale and strange like a lamp dimming. He said nothing. He sat. The physio crouch. Coach White knelt. I heard it, said Harry, eyes wide and dry. Before I fell, a snap. I felt him off. The crowd clapped. Someone shouted his name. He did not wave. By evening, the doctor said, clean break twice, and longer than you'd like once. The paper ran a photograph. Local lad hero injured, a St. Mary's win. In the corner of the frame, under a bench, a scrap of gold paint showed on cracked leather. Coincidence, said the coach, pouring tea he did not drink. Mrs. White knitted and unknitted and at last laid the needles aside. The wind was higher than ever and the office door banged with odd intervals. A week later, the post brought a bill and a letter. This hospital would waive certain costs in light of services to the club, and the league had awarded St. Mary's their overdue grant. The total came curiously to the sum the club treasurer had been fretting over to keep the lights on. The coach smiled without humor. That's the worst of living so far out, he said, sudden and loud. The road's a river, and the luck's a tide. Mrs. White touched his sleeve. He looked up sharply in time to intercept a glance between mother and son, hope and worry making a knot between them that no hand could untie. It was about a week later that the coach woke in the night and found himself alone. The room was in darkness. The sound of subdued weeping came from the office beyond. He rose and listened. Come back, he said gently. You'll be cold. It's colder for my boy, said the old woman. The sound died away. He dozed and woke with a start to his wife's voice, clear, fierce. The boot, she said. Where is it? In the cupboard, he replied, marveling. Why? We've only had one, she said breathlessly. We've only had one wish. Wasn't that enough? He cried. You saw what it brought. Get it, she said. Get it and wish. Wish him to play one more game. Good God, he murmured. Get it, she said again, and her hands shook as if they were trying to pass through time. He went in the dark and felt for the old leather, cold as window glass. Even the cupboard seemed to lean away from it. He brought it back into the glow of the small lamp. Wish, she said. It is foolish, he faltered. Wish, said his wife. She took the boot and sitting slid her stocking foot into it as if into a memory. She drew the lace tight, once, twice, tied a neat knot, heel hovering over the floor. "I wish," he said to the leather to the knight, "that Harry could play one more game." They sat a long time after, staring at the door, and could not bear to look at each other. They lay and listened to the clubhouse count its eggs. A stair creaked. A mouse rehearsed behind the skirting. The darkness grew heavy. At last he rose to fetch another candle. At the foot of the stairs a match went out. He struck another, and at the same moment a knock, so soft it might have been imagined, sounded at the stadium gate. The matches fell from his hand and scattered on the tiles. He stood, breath held, until the knock came again. Then he fled softly to the office, took the boot from the desk, and went out into the rain. The gate was shut. The wind shouldered it and let it fall back with a low complaint. He opened it. No one. Only the pitch, silvered in moonwash, and in the mud, footprints. Not many, just enough to follow. He crossed the grass slowly, midfield, the edge of the box, the penalty spot. From the far end came the sound of a ball struck once. Struck true. Then again, sharp, clean, professional. A shape stepped out in the mist, lithe, quick, dragging one leg a little. Harry? But not Harry. It wore his gait, his posture, even his grin, but it didn't feel like a boy. The jersey clung too tight to bones not fully bare. A long lace hung from its ankle, dark with rain, as if something had been tied there. And then, though better of saying, he understood now what the boot dealt in. He sank to his knees in the wet grass. He looped the old lace round his wrist and spoke, eyes onto the ground. "I wish you'd let him go and leave this place." The wind paused. Somewhere behind him the gate side opened, and the field was empty again. In the morning the boot was gone, only a smear of ash on the hearth, and in the penalty area a single cleat print pressed deep. Rain should have softened it. It didn't. Storm after storm set it harder. Harry was bright and talked of plans. By week's end, the swelling returned and the ache sharpened. The surgeon sent complications. He learned to walk without a limp if he thought about it. He could not run without something inside of him, cinching tight. The team took two strange winds, deflections, errors, and the wheel turned. Crossbars dipped a whisper too low. Blindsnike's flags came a beat late. Armstrings pinged in warm-ups. A sheet of tin left the old roof in a gale and earned a fine they could not pay. The table stopped looking like a row of open mouths and started looking like teeth. The groundsman tried to roll the clean print flat. He filled it with sand and seed. Nothing took. Penalty struck toward the side began to drift, small as a shrug. Harry sat one half in the stands, collar up, hood down. He left at the break and did not come again. The ball by the door gathered dust. Coach White slept on the office sofa for a while. He locked the cupboard, though it was empty, checked it, relocked it, checked it once more. Some nights he heard the gate knock in the wind and did not rise. When they asked about next year, he looked toward the sea and said he didn't think the pitch wanted them anymore. When the wind blew after it, it did not hum. It counted, patient as a referee's watch. And the nets shivered at odd hours as if remembering what they had kept and what they had let through. Be careful what you carry. Be careful what you wish for. Sleep well and dream big, soccer friends. Thank you for joining us on this enchanting journey through the world of Soccer Bedtime Stories. As we reach the end of this episode, I want to express my gratitude for your presence and support. Your engagement means the world to us, and we invite you to become an integral part of our vibrant community. Make sure to subscribe and follow. This will not only keep the magic alive, but also help shape the stories we bring to you. We're eager to hear your feedback, suggestions, and the topics that ignite your passion. Feel free to reach out to us at soccer-bedtime-stories@gmail.com. Together we'll create a community that celebrates the magic of the beautiful game. Now, sleep well and dream big, soccer friends.